Hello and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy episode 593 for the week of Monday, August 28th, 2023. My name is Ryan Higgins. Who's here with me this week?
Brock Sager.
Kevin.
Lane.
And that's it. Hello, everyone.
Lane, come on. You got to do the and.
The and? Okay.
Kevin can't hear me?
I can hear you. I think you're double.
I'm double. I will. Sorry, I will do that.
You're
hey,
doubled up on
the
video thing that sucks.
Yeah, now we're done. Hi, everyone. How are you?
Hi.
We got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about this week. We got comic news and news about our comic anthology coming out in a couple of weeks. Talking about Blue Beetle for a little bit. So I'm gonna let's get right to it. But we do have real news because we've talked about this multiple episodes, and the comic book anthology that myself and Kevin Sharp edited, and me and Kevin and Brock and Lane and Toby and dozens of other people made comics for, called Meanwhile, a Comic Shop Anthology, is here. It's in stock. It's ready. It's being shipped. If you order it on Kickstarter or order through the store, it's on its way to you very soon. September 13th, Wednesday, September 13th. It will be in stores for purchase for the stores that have supported it and backed it. So, and obviously, if your local comic shop wants to carry copies, we will have copies available for wholesale. So we're starting to reach out to some other stores that didn't go through Kickstarter. So it's probably about 20 or 30 stores I think will have it. So outside of us, obviously. But yeah. So we're finally, it's real. It exists. Our warehouse is full of them.
Welcome to my hell.
Hundreds of them already. We spent an hour today trying to figure out how to get
easy ship is not easy.
Work. Hey, it is once you use it. Once you set it up.
Yeah,
it's not called
easy ship. It's the Adobe of shipping. Okay.
It's not called easy setup. It's called easy ship.
No, it's not easy ship.
Once it's set up, it's easy. It's just the setting up part's hard. So, but we got it. We're good. Copies going out. So once again, thank you to everyone that backed us, and we'll have hopefully reviews. I know Bleeding Cool and Multiversity posted about it, so we have a couple other articles posted up about it before the release, and I think hopefully we get a couple of reviews.
I'm literally
next week.
Holding 2 copies right now.
Yeah,
man, it's so hard to review an anthology. Like,
I'm
just
not looking
because
for.
It's like reviewing a mixtape.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not looking for I mean. Maybe we'll get some real reviews, good or bad. I don't care, but I'm just hoping it gets mentioned a little bit and we sell some copies because again, as I mentioned before, we have a warehouse full of them. Yeah. let's sell this out.
I've already gotten rid of like 6 boxes.
I know. Well, I know. Trust me, we have a lot to still ship out. So
we won't.
That stack will dwindle by release day pretty severely. But we're as of now, we still have copies in stock. So.
And remember, A cover, we got a fair amount. The B cover, we have a limited amount.
Yeah. The B cover, the Allison Simpson cover, was sort of the variant, so we did print that at a lower print run than the other one, so that might be a little bit. Expect we'll sell out of that one first, but we had to kind of make a decision of how we wanted to print these. Maybe there's some first appearances in there. Maybe it'll show up on.
CLZ.
Yeah. I can actually put it on CLZ. I actually should do that. I should prep it and put it on there.
Yeah. We should probably send a couple off to CGC just to start it. Full rolling.
Get it on the registry.
Yeah.
One of my regulars, he says he does a lot of Kickstarter stuff, and for the comics, they're all in CLZ, which is the comic database app. But he says a lot of Kickstarter stuff isn't. So I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. I'll have to make sure that we get this in there. So if you run add Meanwhile to your CLZ, boom, already in there. We already got it. They're done. I'll get that up in the next day or two.
God, this is such great talk. Back of house.
It is. It's fun. I
had a couple people ask me if there's any original art available to purchase from the comic.
Oh,
I said you have to talk to the creators directly because I don't know what was done digitally and what's on boards.
Yeah. I know. I know at least one.
Yep.
That was done traditional.
Yep.
Lane, if you want to, you want to sell some original art. You want to sell your double page spread.
The first appearance.
Leanne actually went through for the digital copy. And Leanne went through and because because it's hard, right? Because so Lane, you draw physical, right? You draw on paper, and so we scanned it in and everything like that. And it didn't really matter, and there's a little behind the scenes stuff in production. It didn't really matter on our end because there's like the gutter, right? I mean, comic books, when it's a comic book, it spreads out, so you want those pages to touch. But for an anthology, the size of it, there's actually like we had to pull the pages. This was me and Leanne's nightmare, then Kevin's nightmare for a couple days when we were on vacation.
If only it were a couple days. Fuck you.
We had to pull the art out of the center a little bit because stuff was getting like lost in the gutter, right? I mean, it gets because of the spine, right? So we actually had to pull some of that out. And so for yours, it didn't matter, Lane, because where the line disappears, it's in. You can't see it, right? Because it's there. But on the digital file, there's this giant line down the middle of your artwork. So Leanne actually had to go in and when we did the digital file, she went through and cleaned it up and fixed it so it looks you can't see that cut. From the 2 scan pages. So a little fascinating behind the scenes. Okay. No, it looks great.
Yeah, I also used, like on the board itself, they have little guides. So I used the guide for
where they line up.
Yeah, and then so I actually made it wider than normal so that you could cut the edges off anywhere you wanted.
Yeah, but the problem is, right, we had to cut down the center, right? Because
but I just meant that you could cut the sides off anyway and squish the center any way you wanted. Yeah. So that way, if it had a problem, hopefully.
No. If it fine, it's just when you pull that artwork out. I remember there was a 3-page, there was like a 3-cover Gary Frank set of variants that were supposed to come out for DC that never actually came out. So this art floats around, and if you look at it, you're like, this was never like put together properly. It's all like off by like.
Oh, is that the one with the Legion and the Golden Age characters?
Yeah. There's like you could tell like this was never like because I guess they just never finished.
I thought all 3 came out.
I'm
pretty sure. I know I saw 2. I could have sworn the third was the third was like a 1 in 25 variant ratio.
Oh, maybe you're right. Maybe Kurt's is right because whatever it was supposed to be never came out. That's what it was. They did reuse that art down the road, but the original image, the image of all 3 of them pushed together, is just like it doesn't line up properly. It's all like a little off center. So yeah, it's a lot of work goes in the back to.
Yeah, there's a couple recently that have been doing that where they don't quite line up.
Well, like that Alex Ross, like the big the Jim Lee homage cover, right, that he did. I think those line up pretty well. We had them, a couple of them at the shop, and they seem to line up okay. Because so we have on the site. I haven't made a direct link. It's just there if you search for it. We have the digital copies you can get through us, but we also submitted through Comixology / now Kindle to Amazon for digital copies. For the anthology as well. And I get to play around with, again, more behind the scenes stuff, but I think it's cool because I get to play around with the Kindle, formerly Comixology, comic creator. So that actually goes through and sets up how the guided view works. And it's pretty good. It's pretty easy. It's just, it auto detects panels really well. But if you have any sort of like, very non-traditional panels, like if it's Watchmen, you hit one button and it knows exactly how to read Watchmen because it's like 9 panel or any Tom King book, 9-panel grid, 9-panel grid, 9-panel grid, 9-panel grid, done, and it's done in 1 second. With this, because there was lots of like free floating panels and things that sort of merge, or like Lane, like on your double page spread, there's some like
splashes. Yeah.
There's some kind of divide, and it's not like a panel, right? It's like the crooked line, so. It sort of auto detects a bunch of that, and then I'm like, oh, this is all wrong. So we have to go in and resize how it works, and you can control sort of how the view is. So for like the pinups, you kind of select the whole pinup as one panel, and then I selected like the faces and sort of like any additional features as like panel 2, panel 3. So if you ever use the guided view on Comixology or on like the Marvel Unlimited apps, how it sort of goes from panel to panel through the guided view, you could sort of control where it goes. And when I went and did like my 3rd pass on it, I realized I had swapped 2 panels. Because they number them, right? And so when I looked at it, it's not that you move the panels around. It's just you're sort of selecting a border for it. And so that's what the panel will be, and it numbers the panels. And I looked and it was like, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 4 or something like that, just because the order in which I selected the panels, like I didn't move something. I deleted a panel and then kept going, and it didn't add it. It added it to the end instead of where I was. So it's like, it makes sense once you kind of go through it, but it's actually pretty fun. Like, it's kind of cool to like go in and be like, oh, how do I want to have this page read digitally? Because do you want to read across the whole way? Where do you split up the panels? It's pretty interesting, because I do read some of the comics on Marvel Unlimited, and occasionally on DC Infinite. I mean, I get most of them, so I don't have to worry about it as much. But it's it's a little bit of work, but it's pretty cool. It's a neat little program. So if you do any comics and put them on Kindle, you can. I mean, I know they have so many problems, but you can put them on there. Playing around with the guided view on the Kindle, it's called Kindle Create. It's a pretty cool little tool for making the comic reader. So yeah, just neat little experience getting to do that. And of course, comics are usually like 20 pages. It was like 90 pages, so it took me a bit longer, I think, than it would take to do a regular comic. But yeah, neat stuff. So yeah, if you've backed us on Kickstarter, check emails. Should be getting some updates pretty soon. Once Brock gets those shipped out, I'll be in most of this week to work on that as well. If you're a store, your copies are going out today and tomorrow. If you are a creator, they'll work on it
today.
Oh, you got them all out?
I got them all out.
Fantastic! Look at that. Well, if you're a
machine,
if you're a creator, your copies are running away. And at least one person, Rachel, got her copies already and posted about it. So
nice.
Yeah. So copies are out in the wild, and one review so far and very positive. So I'll take it.
Let's stop it there. We got 100%.
Yeah. No more reviews.
100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Stop the count. So on the 13th,
we're declaring victory now.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you could find me some more votes, Brock, to win that Eisner.
I mean, obviously Toby's gonna get work, and Brock's got the kids, and Kevin's gonna come down, and yada yada yada. So I won't say 6 o'clock like on the dot, but on the 13th on Wednesday, and Leanne's probably going to come down for the back half too. We'll all be at the shop on the 13th. If you're local and you want to come have us, if you want to come buy it or have us sign it or something like that, myself, Kevin, Toby should be there once he gets off work.
This
Brock,
is the first time
Lane.
No, we talked
about this the other week.
No, we didn't.
About coming down on the 13th.
No, you did. I was not involved in this conversation.
I have heard this conversation on mic for sure.
Yeah, but I wasn't on mic at that time.
Okay.
Well, now you're hearing about it, Brock. You want to come to the store on the 13th and sign some comics if people buy it?
I'll probably be already working, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's Wednesday. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so 6 to 8, 7 to 9, something like that. We'll be there for a couple hours on Wednesday the 13th. Also, this is in celebration of Comics Conspiracy's 30th anniversary of the store. So this is all part of that fun thing. So yeah, low key, nothing special. Just but we're going to be there, have fun.
It's a store wide 30% off sale too. Is that what you said for the anniversary?
Maybe. Well, October sale.
Okay.
October sale is a few weeks later. So yeah.
Oh man, Jesus. Jesus.
It never ends, Brock. It never ends.
I can just walk away. Just walk away.
Leanne was telling me a story about how she was talking with one of her students today, and they were saying they didn't have money to get a laptop for school, and she was like, "Yeah, you can get a job, you can get money from your parents." She's like, "But I don't understand. How do I get money to buy stuff?" She's like, "Welcome to the rest of your life." Welcome to everything you do once you leave college is how do I get money to buy stuff? That is the rest of your life. So you have a head start.
Welcome to capitalism.
You got to try to figure this out. So, yep, should be fun. So if you're around on the 13th, come down, come say hi. And if you want a copy signed, if you purchase them online that day, obviously we'll do that too. So,
And Ryan, what's the signing fee? Your signing fee?
I mean, I'm $5 a signature, $25 if it's going to CGC Witness.
Okay.
$50 for a
I'm sorry, remark.
for a remark. Yes. We'll do the full half face for $250.
Okay.
Yeah. No. I will. Much like Tom King, I will sign it. I am sorry because my signature is terrible. So I'll just say I'm sorry, and then it's a squiggly line because
you can't sign I'm sorry. That's his thing.
I'll find something else. Hey, Mitch Garrett stole Adam Hughes's exclamation point, so I can steal Tom King's I'm sorry. So.
Okay.
Yeah. He gives a Mitch exclamation point, right?
He calls it an homage, Ryan, not.
Homage.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah.
He probably discussed it with him. And if you notice, the dot is different. It's not the same dot.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
So yeah, yep. Meanwhile, it's coming out. Yay, Kevin! Your long national nightmare is basically done.
Hey, it's only done unless we get some, Eisner support behind that.
I think.
No, that's just volume 1. It's just started.
Oh yeah, volume 1. What's in store for Meanwhile 2?
I think our goal is to break the Love and Rockets record of publication time.
So, between issues.
No, total amount of time that we're publishing.
Oh, wow.
So we'll be carrying on in 2053. Everybody, stay healthy.
Well, if we release another issue in 40 years, well, that will be one run, right? So
that's right.
It's like big play. It's like non-player, big numbers. Meanwhile,
All-Star Batman,
All-Star Batman and Robin. Yep.
Battle Chasers. Eventually.
Oh, that's over now. They finished now.
No.
Yeah, 12 is
done. No, 12 is not it. It's continuing. It's just on hiatus until he gets to the next segment.
12 is it for now.
Yeah. So it'll be another 10 years for 13.
Yeah.
No, 13, 14, and 15.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about some other things happening in the world of comics.
Are we doing comics? Are we doing the downer news? What are we doing first?
It's all downer news.
No, there's downer news. This is downer news, especially for me.
Okay. I don't know. We'll talk comic books first. There was a couple articles on Comics Beat and over on Sketched just about the general state of Marvel. David Harper does great pieces. It's one of the paywalled pieces on Sketched, sktchd.com. But I would highly recommend subscribing. He does great work. And just talking about some of the general sales problems at Marvel. A lot of sort of behind the scenes feelings, not obviously direct news, but sort of like this feels like stuff's off at Marvel with Tom Brevoort moving over to the X-Men line, and I had seen some comments about people that thought that Cebulski was going to leave or get fired, and Brevoort was going to take over. I don't know. I mean, this is just internet talk. I know there's none of this confirmed or anything, but that's going to happen. X-Men losing their editor. Apparently their main editor has been there for about 4 or 5 years now. So real weird stuff. Go read some of these articles if you look up just more recent articles on Comics Beat and Sketched about the Comics Beat article is Can Anything Cure Marvel's Malaise? The Sketched article about Marvel. It's funny because I for us at the store, our numbers are fine for Marvel. I think some of these miniseries that they're doing and some of the books have a little underperformed, but there's we're heading back to normal, right? Or we are at normal. So a lot of people traveling, a lot of other stuff happening. Comics, I've been way more concerned about the state of the indie scene right now. Just a lot of books not selling and a lot of these new companies kind of not. And we have more news about indie stuff not really working coming up. Marvel, I haven't been super concerned about. Again, there's some underperforming and some things that haven't quite clicked. And I would say sales are down, but they don't feel bad to me. But it, so I don't know if this is a lot of, well, I had an interesting talk with some people about a lot of comic stores have shifted from comic books. And this is always the case, right? Comics are a part of a comic book store, right? So we're mostly comics, almost entirely comics. But there's a lot of stores that are mostly gaming, mostly toys, mostly sports cards, mostly other stuff. And comics is like a part of their store. Gaming has been so big, but with a lot of production problems and lack of stock. If you were looking for the Lorcana card game or Pokemon to take you through the winter, that's not happening because you just can't get anything, right? Magic is in a weird place right now. Sales are very good, but it's very divided. I only sort of keep an eye on this stuff because I don't sell it anymore. So, people that are really hardcore into Magic know much more of what I'm talking about, but they've really changed how the system is, and there's so many sets, and it feels a little overwhelming from an outside point of view. Maybe they're pushing too hard. I could see stores maybe getting stuck with some of the stock if it doesn't quite click, because it's pretty expensive. It's not like you're buying $3 packs of cards anymore. It's some pretty expensive
like
$5
sets. And
it's not just that. I mean, it's like these collector sets for like $50 a pack.
Yeah,
right.
No, they have these weird sets and these commander things, and
yeah, I've not heard from anyone that they're getting stuck with Magic, so I don't really think that's it. But again, I think it's a lack of product for the high end stuff that stores may only get a box or two, and you're not making money on that, right? I mean, you have to sell it. They're not getting thousands and thousands of dollars of product a week where they can sell. If you got Lorcana, you maybe got 10% of your order, which is the Disney card game, and it's sold out and going for a fortune everywhere. So you're either charging $20 a pack, or you made your couple $100 and now that's it. You thought, if you thought you were going to have that on stock to sell for months, it's just not happening. So,
well, and then you're going to compete with Target and Walmart once it gets in there.
But they'll be gone. There's no competition, right? I mean, no one's going to have any. So
yeah, well, no one's going to have any because of the build up to it, and then the just not having it, right?
Yeah, I think it's kind of similar outcome, but for different reasons. If your comic sales are down, you're just not selling a lot of comics. You may be able to sell more games, but you can't get them. So, I could see if that was your shift away from comics, that might also not work. So, I wonder if some jet engine just turned on. If some stores that had shifted away from comics are hurting and now having to cut comic sales back even further. Again, for us, it's not, again, down here a little bit, down there a little bit, but it's just not a crazy drop.
Well, I think also you have to realize, I mean, the ordering that you're doing is very on the edge. You are ordering as much as humanly possible to sell out on Wednesday, or maybe have a couple copies for stuff that has potential longevity. But
well, every book is different, right? There are some books where I'm ordering where we don't even have a shelf copy on Wednesday, and that's a lot of the small press stuff. I don't really try to sell out of anything on Wednesday unless sales dictate that over a long period of time, right? I mean, if we go 2-3 issues and I'm not selling any, then I stop ordering it. On the Marvel and DC end, it's very little that we don't sell multiple shelf copies of. There are certain books that we're going to stock for sales over a longer period of time, but most copies are selling within the first week, right? Yeah. But for a lot of stores, they are like sub only, right? I mean, almost everything, and that's not the case with us. Like Wonder Woman, right? That is a book where I just ordered number 1. That is a book where I am ordering for months and months of sales. That is going to be something that I think a lot of stores are going to underorder. That's something people are going to want down the road. the facsimiles we order for, again, long-term sale, because that's something that I don't want to sell out of that day one. That's not what that's about, right? It's about having that copy on the shelf for a while. So I think, for the most part, there's some books.
Like Batman 3 Jokers. Just keep selling.
I have had that on the wall for like 4 years because we ordered so many copies of it, and it keeps selling. I mean, I ordered
even
for the
with
variants.
a soft cover and a hardcover out.
Yeah. I ordered for the variants. I ordered for all this extra stuff, and I knew we'd have a ton, but I figured this was something that was going to sell long term. And Batman Spawn I keep on the shelf. There's a bunch of books where I just know, hey, this is stuff that I think we're going to just keep moving. So yeah, there are definitely some stores that I think are going to be struggling in a different way again. COVID hurt some stores because they had nothing, got some relief. Sales went up because everyone was bored. Sales have sort of normalized or dropped a little bit. Again, comic sales are always up and down. I don't think anyone expected, endless growth forever. We're seeing the manga sales come down at a dramatic clip. It's a little tougher to know in the kids' books because a lot of that goes through Scholastic and book fairs. So what sells on, and it's so top heavy, right? I'll be really curious to look at the long-term sales charts for 2023, because again, the top 10 books, 10 books, not 10%, 10 books sold represent like 20% of all kids' books sold. It's two or three authors. It's two or three series.
Yeah, Togelmeyer.
Raina Telgemeier, yes, and Dave Pilkey for Dogman, and it's so top heavy, right? So we'll see, but yeah, I don't expect 2023 is going to be a banner year, but I'm happy that our sales are normal to down slightly, but it feels like that's not the case for a lot of places. So we'll see.
Have publishers kind of shied away from doing the returnability now?
Returnability is all but dead.
Okay.
Yeah. So this was a big push for a while, right? The idea of this. So the whole comic market was started, the direct market, because it was non-returnable, right? The idea was comics would sell to newsstands like newspapers and magazines, and they would be able to return X amount for credit. However, what unsold copies, and that would apply to the next one. And so, of course, there were books that sold a lot, but a lot of times those sales numbers were inflated by returns, right? So you'd have, we maybe sent 500,000, but 200,000 came back, right? When more publishers started to do that, again, the idea is, well, if stores have more copies on the shelf, they'll sell more. There's more interest. The store doesn't have to take the risk, so they'll order more. That's the idea. And it kind of worked for a bit, but where we are now, I just don't think it led to any more sales. The credit back, I know a lot of stores were abusing it on incentive covers, the devaluation of incentive covers, because if you can order a ton of books and then return everything, but keep the incentive covers, you don't pay anything for those incentive covers, right? You didn't qualify. You wouldn't have naturally qualified for that. So I think it's a little tough because it just doesn't. I think the sales are what they are, and if you have a couple extra copies on the shelf, I don't know. I just don't think it moved the needle enough to make it worthwhile. I think the returns are more trouble than they're worth. So pretty much everyone's done with returns at this point. You know what you're going to get. This was the whole idea, right? The comic companies know how many they're going to sell because they're non-returnable. This was the entire idea of the direct market. A better discount but no returnability. I'm fine with that. I'd prefer a higher discount to returnability because I don't need the returns. I think that's something where stores are going to have to shift significantly heavier to pre-order models, to prepay models. I've said this for years, the idea of just walking into your local shop and they're going to have every copy of everything is just not the case. Not even with us. And we have a lot, but it's not even with us, right? We don't have a lot. Just I'll get a list of 3 or 4 pages of books that we get in that are sub only, right? Because it's variant covers, it's oddball titles, it's small press stuff, it's final issues.
It's that Dynamite O cover that somebody wanted.
Yeah, it's the final issues of the DC Ruby crossover that nobody bought. It's the Batman audio adventures. It's the Marvel Tales reprints. It's these those books, like nobody's carrying those in store. They just aren't. Not even for Marvel and DC. And with the small press stuff, forget it. Like a lot of stores just aren't going to carry it. So yeah, it's unfortunate. There's not a lot you can do. But again, it's different, right? You have sales from graphic novels. You have sales from other sources, back issues. So the industry is always changing. I don't. We'll see. Other news, not great news, but other news is that Jeff Smith, creator of Bone, talking about popular kids comics. He had a heart attack, which is not great. And Jeff Smith has canceled the remainder of his book tour, and recovering. As far as I know, I haven't seen any other updates, but as of right now, he is okay and recovering, but scary stuff because obviously Bone's become a incredibly popular series in the kids market and outside the traditional comic book store market. So I never like to see that stuff. Which is unfortunate. So hopefully he's okay. Talking about not being able to sell comics. So I don't usually back stuff on Kickstarter as a store, right? As a store.
I was surprised when this popped up saying you back this.
Yeah, I don't normally back stuff as a store on Kickstarter because a lot of this stuff does go through normal distribution later, right? And it's funny because I ran a Kickstarter for our project. And we have retailer things. So trust me, I understand that it's a complex nature of product. There are certain things that certain stores are going to be better at. And a lot of stuff that hits Kickstarter is not stuff that my store is going to do very well with. Usually that's the case, right? Usually it's like, well, this is some cool indie book. It's just not a thing that, maybe you get one copy and it hangs out and we sell it or something like that. But, it's unlikely like Marvel or DC or Image is going to put like heavy stock into a Kickstarter model. That is our bread and butter. It's the weekly comics, the single issues. So when the Neil Gaiman, Terry Pratchett, and Colleen Doran Good Omens graphic novel hit Kickstarter, I was like, what? Why is this on Kickstarter? Is this like a limited edition that Dark Horse is putting up? No. According to Colleen Doran, they shopped this around and every publisher turned it down. So they went to Kickstarter. And as of now, they are at $2.6 million on Kickstarter. So, oops. What did the Embrace Group, the owners of Dark Horse, that fucked themselves on a deal with Saudi Arabia? I'm going way into Geekbox territory here, but if you know the backstory to this, the owners of Dark Horse Comics, the more recent, the current owners of Dark Horse Comics, only bought it for a few years ago, suffered like a $2 billion loss because they lost out to they lost a project that was being funded by Saudi Arabia through one of their I forget what it's called. It's the Saudi Arabia like entertainment fund or community fund or something like that. They're buying sports teams. They're doing all this stuff with Hollywood, right?
They're trying to front load a lot of entertainment. Get people to come to Saudi Arabia as tourism and all that stuff.
Yeah. So, they're trying to get into a lot of things. It was the Embrace Group Saudi Arabia, right? Sorry, I just want to make sure. I'll make sure I have my my things here. Oh, sorry, it's $1 billion. The $2 billion. Yeah, the original deal was $1 billion. It was up to $2 billion. But then, the Saudi Arabia group backed out of their deal with the Embracer Group, which is the owner. Again, all this mostly video game related and other stuff. But for our point here, because they own Dark Horse. Dark Horse has been the publisher for most of the graphic novel adaptations of Neil Gaiman stuff, right?
Yeah.
Short stories,
Yeah,
novels,
A Problem with
books.
Susan.
Right.
What was it?
It's dozen of them at this time.
Yeah, there's
right?
a dozen of them.
How
to Talk to Girls at Parties.
Right,
Yeah.
right. All this stuff.
Something Emerald.
So I just assumed this was a Dark Horse Comics thing, and they had some Kickstarter thing, but we'd get the regular book. No, this is just on Kickstarter, and according to Colin Doran, just because nobody wanted it. I'm baffled. I just assumed this was like this is just Dark Horse and Neil Gaiman's deal, and they get everything. So, I backed at the retailer level for this, and this is something that we absolutely will sell in store. I generally order a couple copies and restock when needed. I had to back at their levels, which is fine. Again, I'll front it because why not? But like, I remember talking to DC years ago, and I'm like, you have Black Orchid is out of print.
Is that still out of print now?
It's gone out of print again. It came. I told them, I said, Black Orchid is out of print. Books of Magic is out of print. That's fucking Neil Gaiman. How do you not have a hardcover and softcover edition of that at all times? I don't care how it sells. These are books that must remain in print. It is arguably the most famous famous living comic book creator, who people will come across his work from outside comics and just be like,
they go to everything.
Oh, Neil Gaiman did this. I will buy this. It's not selling to the Wednesday audience, but these are books that must always be in print because they're Neil Gaiman. And so I just assumed that this was something from Dark Horse. So I don't understand, but
I think it's these companies that own like Dark Horse, like these hedge fund people that are starting to get into these indie places. They don't know the product, and even if somebody's telling them, they go, I don't know. Right.
I mean, it's long-term sales, right? This is not going to blow doors week one and sell millions of copies. Well, except it is, right? But a Good Omens graphic novel that is adapted by one of Gaiman's most prolific co-creators, right? Co-artists on his books. Colin Doran, right? Has worked with Neil Gaiman on a bunch of stuff before.
It has permission from the Pratchett estate.
Yeah. I mean, and this is the original script, and Gaiman oversees this stuff. So like, this isn't some bullshit.
And it's dropping about this time. Good Omens season 2 just dropped.
Yeah. So this is going to be, a pretty should be a pretty well received adaptation of that work. And so bizarre, so weird. I don't know how. I just don't know how is this just not an instant thing? You want the Neil Gaiman thing? Yes, cool. There should be a bidding war. Not nobody gets it. All right, nobody wants it. It's baffling. I just don't understand.
I mean, I don't mind it that nobody gets it except Neil and the estate and Doreen. Like, good. Kudos to them.
Well, but as Kevin can attest to, having the Kickstarter shit is a lot of work, right? Having the publisher come in and do a lot of the heavy lifting, and they have deals with printers.
I don't think Neil has a problem finding people.
But he still has to find people, right? This is why you have publishers. This is why you have people that do this stuff for you. Mm-hmm. So now this falls on them, which is great, right? I mean, you can make way more money this way. And this is the whole Kickstarter model, right? For a lot of these creators, we've talked about this at length in recent episodes. If you publish your own product, you're going to make way more of the money. It's like selling your own things on eBay, right? You want to sell it to a store, we're only going to give you X amount. If you sell it yourself, then you'll get more. But you have to do a ton more work, right? So good on them for doing this, and I hope Doran and Gaiman and whoever else involved. So I hope they're getting a ton of money from this out, because this seems like a a complete runaway success.
And I backed it.
Still got a long time to go. So this should, I assume this breaks 3 million by the end, if not higher. So, yeah.
Well, how long do they have?
I just had it up. Let me look. Kickstarter. It has, as of right now, I guess it only has a couple days left. So it's at 2.65 million. But it could.
You'll see a lot of people back at the last.
Yeah, you could get a big last minute push. So it wouldn't surprise me if this might break 3 million. Which is great. So bizarre. This is the world. This is the world we live in, where someone won't publish a Neil Gaiman thing. I don't get it.
I mean, it's a world we live in where they can't produce enough Disney Loricana to meet
Kevin, the
pre-order demand.
Now, Kevin, I'm just saying, Comics Conspiracy Publishing. If you want to get in with Saudi Arabia, we can get some funding here.
Could you just let my sphincter unclench from the last thing? Just let me have a moment to remember what it's like to fully relax, and then we can talk about.
Let's get game. We'll get Gaiman on the line. Don't worry, we'll get this. We'll get the next one. So let's move on. A couple more comic things to talk about here. There was a Marvel conference call with retailers. I was unfortunately unable to attend. It was at a bad time. Actually missed the Wonder Woman and one of Tom King too. Terrible timing.
You've been missing a lot of them lately.
I'm usually around. I haven't been. Again, I've been busy. So I'm not going to comment on anything other than the phrasing here. G.O.D.S, G.O.D.S, the upcoming Jonathan Hickman book for Marvel, is being referred to.
Demon Spawn. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what it means.
Is being referred to by Marvel as the Sandman for the Marvel Universe.
I just threw up in my mouth.
I just wanted to follow up the Neil Gaiman part a little bit about that. So, this sits at the axis of Saga and Sandman. It's not Saga, it's not Sandman, but it has a certain stylistic closeness to both. It's definitely a flavor. It's definitely a different flavor from a lot of the things that we do at Marvel. So, I'm a little.
What does God stand for?
I have no clue.
That's the first problem.
So I'm a little on and off with Hickman. Maybe if everyone's got a slight opinion, we can give it here. If you've read it, give me thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways. Fantastic Four, big thumbs up from me. Kevin's a big thumbs up.
I have not read it.
Lane, have you read any of Hickman's Marvel stuff?
Oh wait, you're talking about old stuff?
Mostly just
X-Men.
Oh, I read a little bit of the old stuff. It was okay. I just didn't like how choppy it was with an ending summary. I'm like, come on, show me this stuff. Don't be lazy.
Yeah. Avengers, I'm like half. There's some good ideas, but some stuff did not click with me. I didn't like Ex Nihilo.
Yeah, that's uncanny, right?
No,
that was just the straight Avengers.
Just Avengers. Yeah, Avengers.
That yellow dude with like one horn.
Avengers and New Avengers. Shield and Shield related. Again, good concept, didn't really
Secret Warriors was really good.
It was good. It was good. I didn't like.
I like Secret Warriors, and that was supposed to lead into Shield, but Shield turned to garbage.
Right. I mean, I'm talking about that whole batch of stuff. Right. Shield got still thrown off schedule, and that had its own set of problems. So X-Men is where I've gone from the highest to highest to the lowest to lows. Where, as we've discussed in this podcast, Hux and Pox were amazing, and then everything after that was
what the fuck.
Less so, I will say. Cool if you like it. I'm very happy for you. I have actively disliked the current X-Men stuff. And Hickman is, obviously gone and not involved at all. Right. So a little hesitant going into G.O.D.S. Now I did get to read preview. The full copy will be out at some point. You know, I feel I so no spoilers. I can't really spoil anything. This is just my pre-ordering preview of Gods and sort of my thought. I'm either missing something, or I don't. As far as I know, this is the beginning of the book. So this is not like, this isn't like a random segment in the center that I'm reading out of order. This is a good chunk of the book that I got to read as part of the preview on Marvel. I don't get it. I don't know if I'm just missing a bunch of current books that explain what's going on. It's a bizarre, like 2000 era throwback, Mark Miller, Warren Ellis, cool characters being cool, standing around being cool and telling you that they're cool. I don't know who any of the characters are, what they're doing, why they're doing it, what it's about, what the story is, what their relationship is. And for a $10 book that's leading off, I got no concept of what I'm reading when I'm reading this book. I don't. This isn't like, it's confusing because I don't understand the story. I don't. It's not that it's just a linear story, and I don't know what they're talking about or who these people are. I feel like I've come in 3/4 of the way through a movie, and I'm completely lost. So as a sample for the first issue of a thing, I don't know if this was supposed to sell me on it, because it sure didn't. And saying this is Marvel's version of Saga and Sandman could not turn me off more, because that feels like just real bad reaching for you do Sandman. You don't say you're doing Sandman, right?
Right. And those were the Saga and Sandman were not, this is Image's blank. This is Vertigo's blank. They were
right.
They weren't. That's the whole point of it.
Right.
When you call your shot like that, then all you're doing is creating elevated expectation, which is not always bad, but also built-in hostility in some quarters.
Yeah. So I'm usually not. I usually think Hickman stuff finds its audience because there's people that really like his work, right? Ultimate Invasion, which is the current mini going on now, I feel like that's a bit of an outlier because if I'm not mistaken, that was supposed to be Donny Cates before he left. So I feel like Hickman just kind of was given this, and it's not his thing. Sales have been fine on it, but not anywhere near.
Also a pricey book.
Well, yeah, right. And so we're looking at with the new catalog from Marvel, right? I think about half the books are $4.99 or higher now. So like half the lines $3.99, half the lines $4.99 plus, and that includes many books that are standard comic size. With God's #1 being $9.99. Yeah, I'm.
You're getting into trade, try this out pricing with that, and you're not even getting 6 issues.
Yeah.
So wait, how are you ordering Gods?
That's a really fucking good question. I got to figure it out because orders are next week, 2 weeks. It's pretty soon. Hickman taking the Eternity. Taking Eternity, the In-Betweener, Infinity, and making them Marvel's version of Sandman.
Huh?
Some of that,
when I was reading this,
I just don't know.
When I was reading this, it's like this is more Hickman frames this as more mundane, a street level version, as we call it, of what?
That's a wonderful way of pronouncing that. Mundane, yeah. A street level version of the cosmic stuff, right? So it's gods walking the earth, right? And the idea of Sandman is that Morpheus is not a character that, I mean, obviously the Sandman and blah 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 blah, blah, but he's drawing from real things. But DC's Sandman was created whole cloth in that first issue, right? Eternity, the In-Betweener, these are Marvel characters, right? So if you want to like, oh, we're gonna put them on Earth and have them be like cool dudes in jackets walking around, I mean, I guess you could do that, right? We had the Beyonder, right? I mean, yeah, sure, but is that what this, like? I don't know. Is this story? Is this, where is this, like? Why?
I mean,
where?
Who's having a baby at the beginning?
I fucking don't know, dude. I've read however many pages it was. I have no clue. I have no clue who anyone is. I have no clue what's going on. I have no clue what's happening. Doctor Strange is in it. I only know that because they call him Doctor Strange. He doesn't really look like Doctor Strange, but they call him Doctor Strange. I don't understand. I have no idea what's going on in this book.
I mean, is anybody in the store talking about it? Because books have come out with gods on it.
No, those are just like variant covers and weird, like it's not part of the story. It's just these I don't know, these one-off covers. It's not.
No, there's a couple spine that they have the spine thing that says gods on it.
But are there prelude issues to it? Again,
I have no idea.
I got no clue. I feel like I'm way in the weeds on this. Like when I read Hawks and Pox, I was like, oh, okay, this. I understand who this is, and I understand these characters, and it's a big story. But yeah, you're able to follow up from issue to issue. It was fascinating, right? I mean, there was cool stuff in there. I did not get any of that in this, so I'm not, look, I have my very specific tastes, and Hickman I'm 50-50 on. And so I thought it'd be like, okay, well, this would be interesting. We'll see what it is. I'll kind of roll my eyes at the Sandman comparison, but let's see. This was borderline unreadable. So I don't know. I'm really confused. I'll give it the full read when we get the full issue. Maybe stuff's edited, maybe stuff's missing. I just don't know where this goes. I don't know what this is. I don't know what the point of it is. It's very strange. I've never been so confused by a book before in my life.
The great trick of, and I'm commenting on something I haven't read. So, I'm not commenting on something I haven't read. I'm going to comment on Sandman. But just by your description of gods, the great trick of Sandman is that Morpheus is not the main character. It's all of the people in his orbit that are kind of bouncing off each other. I mean, so if you had every issue of Sandman was a Morpheus story with literally him wandering the earth as the main character, that happens occasionally, but it's not every issue. So I'm hoping there's another trick in Gods besides just, oh, isn't this cool to have these cosmic characters now street level? Wow, isn't that weird? Because there's really nowhere to go with it after isn't that weird? That's it.
Yeah. I'm like unsure if those characters in the book are these characters. It's not made clear. So I'm going to have to sit down and reread this again and just like.
Okay, get the Wikipedia page out.
Yeah, it's not even that. I just didn't. I've read Grant Morrison books and I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to like take notes here. This didn't feel like that. This felt like, okay, I don't know. I don't care.
I mean, it better
my
have
eyes just sort of glazed over when I was reading it.
They better have a bitchin' description for each of the endless. They're endless.
How many variant covers am I getting for a $10 book? There's a lot of questions.
It's just the first issue is $10, right? Not the
the rest are $5. Yeah.
So how long does Gods run?
I think it's just 4 issues.
No, it's ongoing.
Is
Report
it?
said it's ongoing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh fuck.
So canceled after 8.
Well, it's Marvel, so it'll run 10. Yeah, it'll run 6 and then end. Yeah.
It'll be Gods.
All new Gods number 1.
Yeah, all different Gods. And you'll fucking hate looking it up because it'll be like Wildcats. Got to put all those goddamn dots in.
Yeah, It's strange.
What does gods mean?
Now, to be, I have no clue. I have no idea. Now, to be fair, I will make the exact same complaint about a DC product. Okay, right. I am nothing but fair, Kevin.
That is what people say. Many people are saying.
Yes.
Yeah, many people in a small group.
Well, I found this ironic because shortly after, DC put out a thing about the upcoming Flash comic written by Cy Spurrier.
That's already the funny one.
In which he likens the upcoming Flash comic to Anatomy Lesson and American Gothic from Saga of the Swamp Thing. Again, just don't do that, okay?
Well, and plus...
I guess nobody has to be no one can be a bigger booster than you.
Right.
But
listen to what you just said. The Flash comic is going to be like the Anatomy Lesson and American Gothic. Does nobody hear those words coming together and go, these things do not fit?
Is this Flash running through Dream?
So Spurrier,
no, it would be like Flash. It would be Flash in the back roads of America, like
like.
Oh
Hickman.
God, is he doing like that Straczynski Superman?
No. Like Hickman, I'm kind of 50-50 on Spurrier. I think his indie dark horror, Vertigo, especially Constantine, fantastic. Yeah. Right, fantastic. When he's worked on superheroes, it's just kind of not his speed, no pun intended. It's just not his thing. And his X-Men books, it was always a little off. It never really fit the tone. So taking the Flash to, and again, we got previews, so there's some the preview stuff, into this like darker, more serious, weirdo stuff. It's a little, it doesn't really fit the character very much. I don't mind having stories in which the Flash goes through some dark stuff, but I feel like we fought for so long to get that lighter tone back to the Flash. To just go this way feels like a weird swerve, especially with Wally, who has like a big family in the comics. It feels a little tonally off. If you do it with Barry, I'm maybe a little more okay with it, because it would be like, oh, we're going to take the Silver Age weirdness of Barry Allen, but we're going to apply it to like modern day, like crazy future sci-fi. Like, okay, I could maybe buy that. Wally, that's a harder character to sell me on. So, like Gods, I will reserve judgment till I can sit down and read the whole thing. It just feels an odd choice. Now to bring back the DC love, I also.
But quick question: how much is that first issue?
It's $4.99. Just regular price. Yeah. Now I did get to read Wonder Woman #1, which
don't share the wealth, man.
Probably the greatest comic that will be published this year. That every store should stock for.
I'm sorry.
So the second greatest, the greatest
non-anthology
you really
need to learn how to do this
year.
When you're involved.
Retailer, publisher, publisher, fan. I'm multifaceted. Okay, the greatest non-anthology published. The greatest Burbank published comic this year.
I mean, we'll be sitting there with them at the Eisners. So,
Wonder Woman is phenomenal. So
that means everyone's going to hate it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So, DC bias back on. And look, I love the Flash. Right, Flash is like my favorite character. So this is a tough one. We'll see. We'll see where this run goes.
This is the classic, and again, I haven't read the preview, but what you're describing, There is the difference with creators where you say, let's just say the Flash, because let's say Ryan Higgins is now writing the Flash. God forbid, don't lightning strike me. There's the two versions of this. There's Ryan saying, I'm going to tell the best Flash stories that I can come up with. Or there's Ryan saying, I'm going to use the Flash to tell the kind of stories I want to write.
Bingo.
And this sounds like the second one.
Yeah, and I think that's usually the case, right?
It's unfortunate that's the case. But yeah, I agree.
I would rather someone write something they want to write. And I didn't hate the preview. It just wasn't the Flash, all right? Now, Grant Morrison obviously took
Flash.
Well, yeah. I mean, he is the Flash, right? Grant Morrison obviously took a character like Animal Man and said, this character's had a couple appearances. It's kind of been generic.
Yeah.
Let's do something weird with it, right? Yeah. The Flash isn't that character. You want to come in with, I don't know. I can't even think of something. You want to come in with some oddball old thing and totally revamp it. Cool, right? And I'm not against doing something unique and interesting with characters. Maybe G.O.D.S is going to be fucking great, right? Maybe the Slash run is going to be great. It just feels like, is this the right book at the right time? You've had the Flash book kind of come back to this lighter tone. Now there's going to be a new Flash book, and I think there's going to be like a Flash Force, right? It's like the family book. So this would have been a time where I would have said, okay, the Flash is going to be Wally and a little more mainstream and a little bit more light and a little more Justice League. But we're going to give you this Barry book and you go fucking wild. If people want the normal Flash, here it is. If people want this weirdo Flash, there it is. I think that's where you have times where there's options, right? And this would have been a good time to go, we're going to finally give you the two Flash books you want. We're going to give you the Wally book with all the family and Jay Garrick and and with Impulse and everything like that. We're going to keep Barry off to the side, and we're going to do this thing with him. If it works, cool. If it doesn't, whatever. It doesn't matter. It'll be over in 12 issues. But we're going to, and I like that sort of experimentation. It's just when this is the only book, because the other book coming out is not the Flash. It's like a Flash Force like side thing with Wallace West and what's her name? The one of the new Flash girls, I forget her name. So I'm like, it's not Barry and Wally and Impulse, right? I mean, it's like the other thing. So it's weird. I don't know. It just feels like an off. It feels like a not how you want to start this. But we'll see. Hopefully, I come back and it's very happy with them. But I don't know. I guess I will, Kevin. I also do have to say that. Let me see. Do I have? Is there an actual? I don't. Is there an actual quote here? I don't think Tom King actually said it. I think Bleeding Cool just called Wonder Woman's Dark Knight Returns. I don't think I don't think Tom King and DC said it. That's why I was trying. As I've been talking, I've been trying to find because this came up in the same list of articles. I was trying to remember if I don't think they said it. I think Bleeding Cool.
Yeah, but when it's something that's outside, when it's something outside reading and reviewing,
yeah, that's
different.
Fine, yeah,
but if it's inside going, this is this, that's where it starts to lose me.
Well, in the case of Wonder Woman, right, this is like Dark Knight, this is a heavily political book.
Yeah.
I won't say extreme shift, but definitely a pretty big character shift in tone. And so in that regard, it's accurate, but I would also never call a book blah blah's Dark Knight Returns. The only book I would say that to is TMNT Last Ronin, because it literally is their version of Dark Knight. That was the entire point. And that is what Last Ronin is. It is Last Ronin was a Daredevil parody. This is Turtles is a Daredevil parody. Last Ronin is a Dark Knight, I don't say parody, but pastiche, right? I mean, that is what this is. So I would not say that about Wonder Woman if I was DC. If Bleeding Cool wants to say it, sure. It's not wholly inaccurate, but yeah. So yeah.
Okay, so what is the world's best anthology?
Oh, well, I mean, that would be, meanwhile, Comic Shop Anthology coming out.
But we have to compare ourselves to something else now,
yeah,
right? We are the what of
the America's top 10 comics.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. I don't even know. And one last bit of news, comic news, before we move on to a little bit of movie and TV talk. One last bit of comic news here. This was reported that Valiant basically has canceled all their books. I do want to say that is slightly inaccurate. Valiant Comics has canceled all their unpublished comics. That is true. However, I think we reported on this a while back that a new company has basically bought Valiant, the publishing end of it, or licensed the publishing end of it. I'm not exactly sure how the what the specifics are. But this new company, Alien Books, in an upcoming catalog, will resolicit the unpublished X-Men War and
that's Liam Sharp and Becky,
right? Becky Clinton and Michael Conrad, Ninjak, and
I did not order that.
Wasn't there an Eternal Warriors book that got?
No, I don't think so.
Either way,
there was Archer and Armstrong.
Yeah, but I think that all that ended, right?
I don't know. I stopped getting a lot of them.
Yeah.
I think I was just down to that Liam and Becky book.
Yeah. So Valiant. I thought it was dead, not quite dead, but
hey, they put in a valiant effort.
Hey. Good luck. Hopefully, Alien Book can make this work. Just publish the comics. Don't worry about the licensing. Don't worry about all that crap. Just deal with the comics. Okay. A couple movie TV things to talk about. Obviously, there's a big one we'll get to in the Blue Beetle. So, but the less but still important movie TV news from this week is Disney finally broke and have admitted that maybe only putting stuff exclusively on a streaming platform is not the best idea, as Mandalorian Season 1 and 2, WandaVision, and Loki will be released on Blu-ray and 4K, along with Falcon Winter Soldier and Andor and everything else later in the year. All the Disney Plus stuff is coming to physical media.
Thank God I can buy Willow. Fuck.
Which means, watch the stuff fall off Disney Plus sooner than later. They just pulled 2 of their completed shows. There were 2 fantasy shows that they had. They just pulled them entirely. I don't know if you saw the news today that AMC is going to license a ton of its shit to HBO Max or to Max, right? So the collapse of streaming is trudging on. We are watching an industry implode in real time. It's fascinating.
You watched it be born in real time. You've seen the rise and fall of the Roman Empire in it's 10 years. So
it's crazy.
12
it's
years.
Crazy.
It's amazing what happens when you don't pay the people.
All the visual effects workers at Disney continue to unionize. Netflix is breaking and starting to pay a bunch of its creators for foreign content, including that show Dark and a few other things that they weren't getting royalties on. So yes, every week there's some new story about some part of Hollywood and the streaming services are breaking. And this is this week's, right? I mean, Netflix, I think they put out the first season of Daredevil and Jessica Jones on DVD or Blu-ray, and that was it, right? Just one season, I think. But yeah, how much money is Disney thrown away by not? You have your most hardcore fandom in existence with Marvel and Star Wars, and you don't give them stuff to buy, what did I say before? We will continue to subscribe to Disney Plus for the new stuff, and we will also buy the physical media. That audience will double dip. So many of them will double dip. Like, I don't need it released the next month on physical media. You can wait. I don't need Barbie out on Blu-ray next month. You can wait till next year for physical. I don't care.
No, they got to release it before Christmas, man.
Doesn't even matter. Just release it.
So what are you buying of these releases?
Oh, I'll buy them all.
But you didn't like all those shows.
Nah, of course I'm going to buy them. The Star Wars and comic book stuff, of course I'm going to buy them. I'll buy every single one. Yeah. Kevin, I'm telling you,
but if you don't like it, if you don't want to watch it again, you're still going to buy it just to have it.
This stuff, yeah, okay. I buy the comic stuff. I buy almost all the comic shows. There are things like Walking Dead, which are there's a ton of spinoffs and have gone off on its own thing. That's a little bit different. The Marvel and DC stuff, I have bought nearly everything that's been available. Star Wars, kind of part of that as well. But I'm not going to buy the shitty original trilogy Blu-rays because I want the real ones.
You own Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
No, but again, I don't know
that they even put it out. But would you buy it?
I don't think they have.
I don't think they.
If it came out on Blu-ray, would you buy it?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Legion and what was the X-Men? What's the other X-Men one?
Gifted
and Inhumans.
It has to be a box set of shit.
Wait a minute. Legion does not belong in the conversation with those other titles.
No, I'm just saying that's I bought Fantastic Four 1 and 2 on a $5 Blu-ray, right? Like if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was $5 a season, I'd probably pick it up, right? $9.99, maybe $29.99 for the bundle of all 5 seasons. I may pick it up just to pick it up. Yeah. But those are so.
We need Charlie.
They're off, right? They're just not. They're not the real thing, right? MCU, the DC stuff. Yeah. But again, I don't buy it at launch, right? I'm not buying them day one. I hate steelbooks. I don't know why they're doing these people love steelbooks, but no, I'll wait till the normal ones are out. And I'll wait till on our Black Friday sale, but I will buy them. There are some I buy right away, but a lot of them I just wait and buy when they're cheap.
Yeah, I'd probably get the Mandalorian stuff and WandaVision, but Loki, I'd probably wait.
Yeah.
Falcon Winter Soldier would have to be a great deal on a Black Friday.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. A lot of that stuff I'll take when it's cheap, but but there will be significant amount of people that will buy these day one. Absolutely. It's crazy to me that this took this long, but at least they're doing it. So Disney's learning that the stuff they make is popular and people will pay for it. Shocking. Now, of course, the big story of the week, we'll get to this and spend a few minutes on this. We continue to report on time passing and everyone that worked on projects and actors and comic writers and artists passing away. It's I feel like we have had way more of these in recent years than we did in the earlier years for podcasting. So I don't know if that's just time catching up with us here. But we have lost another member of the Batman the Animated Series crew, and that is Arleen Sorkin. Passed away. He was the voice of Harley Quinn, obviously. I obviously don't know her from her TV roles and Days of Our Lives and everything like that. That's not where us and most of our people are going to know her from. But the voice of Harley Quinn was,
she was the inspiration too.
Yeah, just just a legendary role. She was that character, top to bottom. That character does not exist without her. She was specifically handpicked to be this background character, and then that character comes to life because of the voice and the style, and without question, one of, if not the most important comic creators created in the last 35 years, right? 30 years. Harley Quinn is a
powerhouse.
Yeah. One of the most, Kevin may kind of roll his eyes a little bit here, but, one of the most important characters ever created, right? And one of the most famous comic creators ever.
I'll roll it my eyes.
I think we've all got a little, like Deadpool, I think we're all a little, at times we can get a little Harley'd out.
Yeah.
But
it's hard for me to get Harley'd out.
But I don't think anyone can look down at the importance of that character in the last 20, 30 years of DC. Super sad. She was 67, so not too old, but yeah, it's tough for old Beard because like Tara Strong and other people that have done the Harley roles after her, they are all pulling from her, right? That's the same. It's they all do the same voice, and Tara Strong is a terrific voice actor, just not the same, right? I think it's pretty difficult to hit her to hit those same. Just that voice, just that. I hear it when I read the comics, some more than others. I think some of the writers lean way more into the animated style of storytelling than others. But I mean, it's impossible to not hear her voice. Like Mark Hamill and as a Joker. But there's so many Jokers, right? There's all of these different people that have done this role. And Kevin Conroy, right? Again, I think a lot of people will hear that voice more so than the TV actors and movie actors that have played Batman. But they are far from the only people that have been in those roles. Harley really is that she's Harley. Like they're like it. That is, I don't know that anyone ever picks up that role the same way. So yeah, very, very sad. Very sad. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Brock, I know Harley's a big character for you, one of your favorites. I think feel free to talk. So
I think for me it was, I really just like her voice was so key in it, and then, that's what Paul. I guess I read somewhere it was like she was the inspiration because she was friends with Paul and stuff. So it's really. It kind of harkens back to the
Paul Dini artist.
Paul Dini,
co-creator Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah, to the girl that was in the inspiration for Death for Neil Gaiman. I can't remember her name off the top of my head right now.
Cinnamon something. What's her name?
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like I think it's difficult because you lose somebody who's that iconic. And a lot of us have at some point, that's the voice that we recognize, like much like Joker. It's like I hear, like when I read Joker, I'm reading Mark Hamill's voice when I'm reading it. So like, I think people would read, I think for me, it was a combo of her and Tara Strong's character, presentation, but it was mainly Arleen when you read that Harley. So yeah, it's sad news.
Kevin, Lane, any thoughts? Anything to add?
No, not really.
All right.
No, there's
always the sad news. It's like,
yeah. I mean, what to say? Yeah.
I mean, I never got a chance to meet her, so it sucks. But
Kevin Conroy was on my list of people that were starting to age up that I wanted to get an autograph from at a con, and she was on that same list, and they have not done cons. Not around here, not around anywhere I've been, not that I've had access to. So unfortunately two that I missed. I would have loved to have I'd love to have meet them. When we've talked to I've talked to guys from Arrow, and me and Toby did the stuff with guys from Smallville and a bunch of the other the smaller movie and TV people that met at conventions and got autographs from and stuff through the years. And I've kind of said the same thing to everyone, and it's true, right? It's for the comic audience, those shows and those animated series are a gateway for so many fans, right? I mean, my earliest experience with comic books was like the Fantastic Four cartoon reruns and the Batman '89 movie, right? Like those are some of my earliest experiences before I read a comic book. And that's, how many people's first comic thing was Batman the Animated Series, or, like the Arkham Asylum games or Injustice, right? Or, the MCU, I'm sure, how many people have never read a comic but have watched all the Marvel movies, and it's that is always the case. And so I never want the comics to play like second fiddle to the shows and movies and games, but they're always the most important in my mind. But those bring in such a wide audience of new people, and if even 1 in 1,000 get into comics, that is a lot of people that are introduced to the medium that way. So, I always tell them, like, hey, you guys have brought so much business into the industry for myself and other comic store owners and creators. Like, it's those roles are what so many people think of those characters. And, it's great when people come into comics, but, just the fact that these characters are out there, it's sad. I mean, it's an amazing body of work. It's an amazing character, legendary comic character. Will go down as one of the greatest voice acting roles ever. But yeah, it's still sad. Well, we are going to wrap up with a little bit of, I guess, as spoilery as we want, because I'm not sure that it matters. By the time this podcast is out, Blue Beetle will be streaming on HBO Max. Max. So this is you guys are broken, huh? Me and Lane saw Blue Beetle, but Kevin, Brock, no. You guys you're off the wagon.
No, it's just like the timing didn't line up, and like I said, I said earlier, I was like, it's doing this weird thing. It was like $4, and everything was sold out, and I'm virtually sold out. I'm like, I don't know what the hell's going on, so I'm not even going to worry about it. Because like I don't order online, I go into the actual place, but I was on the way back with my daughter from getting some stuff from Target and Whole Foods, and I just wanted to see if there was anything available. And it was just weirding me out that like I think they were doing like all weekend. Because I tried Saturday and Sunday, and it was like I thought it was bugging out, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm not putting my card in that machine. It might be bugging out."
No, you missed the $4 sale on all movie theaters this weekend.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't. This is how in touch I am. I'm buried in meanwhiles. So it just didn't work out for me to go see it. I plan to see it, but it's not like I'm not rushing right now. Yeah.
Ryan, you can wake me up.
I wouldn't say I'm broken.
You can wake me up from cryo sleep when one of the following titles is on a marquee: Fantastic Four, Blade, Spider-Verse, or on a TV screen, Daredevil.
Is that it?
What about Demolition Man 2?
But those are open. That's not comics.
I don't care. You said cryo sleep.
Okay. So yeah, I'd see Demolition Man 2. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
As far as comic movies,
that's opening day.
Well, unless you and I go to see Craven. But as far as like something I actually care about and am interested in, and not just doing it for
open bar.
Exactly. Aside from something like that, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much my list. I'm tapped. I'm out.
Oh, so we don't need to wake you up for Warlock or Captain Marvel?
You mean the Marvels? Yeah, you don't need to wake me up for that.
The other Captain Marvel.
I give you permission to wake me up when that never happens. Yes.
Yeah. We are firmly in lame duck territory here for DC. In theory, Aquaman opens in 4 months, and there's not been a trailer. So I wouldn't hold your breath for that.
You would have to hold your breath underwater, but
well, Dune just got pushed back to March.
Well, I'm not counting that though.
Aquaman, see you in June or July of next year. Yeah. It's same with Dune. I'm like, bye, Dune. Yeah, good luck, March. Maybe we'll see. Maybe June.
Like, are you guys going to go see Dune Part 2?
Hell yes. Hell yes.
Of Dune was fucking amazing.
Dude, seeing Dune was so slow. Seeing Dune in the theater was one of the great movie experiences of this decade for me.
I just, it was COVID, so I didn't do it. I just saw it on TV.
I watched it at home, and it was slow, and I was like, yeah, I'll watch it at home.
That's cool. If they do Dune 1 and 2, I'll go watch both. Yeah. I'll go watch both. I'll do both
until you see that in a theater, man. You will be you'll be amazed.
Oh no, I didn't. I don't need to see it in the theater to know it's going to vibrate my ball sack to the no end.
That's fine. Like no, it was like Leanne kind of bounced off it, but it is it is slow. It is slow old white man sci-fi, and just it's cool stuff. I loved it.
Like don't get me wrong, I like the story. But it was just, I couldn't. I don't know.
That's okay. That's okay. Not everything has to be for everyone. But yeah, so I went in with mid to low expectations for Blue Beetle and Lane. We'll get your thoughts on here too. But it's tough to get excited just because I'm not sure what is going to go forward. That's part of it, right? I just wanted a good story. I'm done with multiverses. I'm done with everything having to tie in to everything else. I just wanted a good story, and I got a fun story. It's when we saw Iron Man, you're like, oh, this is amazing. We've never seen anything like this, or not really, right? And now I'm like,
Iron Man is the presentation. He's standing there, the missiles go off, and the blast comes forward, and it's like, boom, it hits you.
Yeah,
that whole shot is Iron Man.
Yeah, if Iron Man came out today, would be like, that was nice, but we would, right? We would.
Was quaint.
It's all right. Yeah, it was fine. Yeah, because that was just what comic movies were. This feels kind of like a bit of a throwback. This feels like Phase 1 Marvel stuff, and it's like. So I complain, right? And part of me says, I'm sick of multiverse. I'm sick of the giant stuff. But I'm also like, I think that's just comic movies. This is just what it is. And so, this, Captain Marvel 2, Black Adam, they're all fun, right? And of course, I complain about multiverse stuff. And then what do I like better? I like Flash, right? I like Flash better than all of them. It is a little more interesting. There's a little more going on. But, audiences are sick of that. So, it's I don't really know what I want, right? Because when they do the simple movie, it's like, well, okay, that's cool. And then when they do the big flashy one, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. But I don't know. I don't know what I want.
Was the CG good?
It's fine. Everything was fine. It looked like a big budget movie. It looked like a movie for the movie theater. It didn't look like some direct to DVD crap like people. It
didn't look bad about. Like Quantumania.
No. There were maybe a couple shots that looked a little. He's fighting a big evil Blue Beetle for a part of the movie. There's maybe a couple shots in that look a little cheap, but overall, I thought it was fine. It's I thought it was funny, right? It's they get the human part right, which is sometimes the problem in the superhero movies, right? They get that part right. It's funny. It's very funny. It's at least I thought it was funny. The audience seemed to be into it. As for all the people that were there, it wasn't many, but people were laughing. It's light. It's simple, but there's again we'll kind of maybe wait till the end of wait till Lane says a little bit. We can talk about a little post credit tease. It's just it's just a movie. It was fun. I enjoyed it, and again, that's sort of the problem, right? There isn't a lot of excitement, so. What have I complained about? People only care about the end credits. Well, if the end credit is if the post credit is the actual only interesting part of the movie, then you've made a bad movie. I don't think that's the case with this. The post credit is could be a cool setup, but DC's batting like 0 for 20 on those post credit teases. So I'm not holding out hope that this is anything. It's the like I said, the humans, the family element was good. And it's funny. It's a solid B. It didn't blow me away, but
Blue Beetle's a solid B.
Yeah, but it was enjoyable. I wouldn't say rush out to the theater and see it. You may have to if you want to see it in the theaters because it's probably going to be gone pretty soon. But I'd say it's definitely worth a watch. It's just not going to change the world, but it was fun. yeah, I don't know. That's all I got. And we'll talk very briefly the post-credit scene after. But like I said, I don't have a ton to say about it. It's fun. It was good. It was enjoyable. It's another comic book movie starring characters I like. So neat. But I just don't have a lot to say. Lane, what do you think?
I was going to joke and just say meh, but no, I agree. Like for the most part, it was a nice family film. I think everybody was just expecting the whole, this is the DC's version of Panther to reach out to the Latin X community, and it's like, yeah, okay, maybe, but it was really well done for that purpose. The characters were, for the most part, pretty good. I think a couple of them were a little bit overacting, but the humor came out okay, like you said. It's pretty well balanced.
George Lopez almost got right to that limit.
Yeah,
he never got over it. I thought he was really funny. If he pushed that just a little bit more, I would have been kind of annoyed. But he pushes that character right to the limit. I was a little concerned because
he's the dad, right?
No, he's like uncle. He's
uncle. Okay.
Yeah, he's crazy and annoying and funny and like way over the top. But like, I feel that they pull him back just slightly, so he isn't just a character, right? Like there's actually moments of some seriousness with him that ground that character, because it could have been way too much. Like the sister's fine, like she gets a little annoying, but it's kind of on purpose, right?
Yeah, I think they all kind of start off that way, and they all kind of got you kind of settle down and learn the characters as the movie goes, and that's what grounds them.
Yeah, the grandmother, again, it's a funny joke.
Yeah.
If that was the whole movie, I would have been like, okay,
yeah, I know exactly.
But it's but the stuff they do with the grandmother at the end of the movie, it's funny, it fits, it's a good scene, but I don't need that to be the whole movie, right? I mean, I think they were very smart with how far can we push these caricatures, because the mom and dad were pretty even. They were not.
Yeah, no, I like them. They were good.
Over the top. Yeah,
they were solid.
Yeah, again, kind of like, I know some people didn't like the portrayal of Shazam in Shazam, that they felt he was too over the top. I'd say
the kid or the hero version.
No. The hell's his name? Yeah, the hero version. Why am I can't think of the actor's
Zachary
name?
Levi.
Zachary Levi. Yeah, the Zachary Levi was like way too over the top. I don't really agree with that, but I feel if you think that, I think these characters all aren't quite that far. There's some silliness, but it's a little more grounded.
Yeah,
but a similar, like, a very wide range of family characters that feel different, right? Mm-hmm. And that's it's I would think you're hard pressed to find because they're reviewed really well, right? But the majority of the reviews are like, yeah, the superhero stuff is whatever, but the family stuff, the family element, the family dynamic, that is the movie, right? And I think that's where it worked the best. Black Adam, just it fell short on that end. It feels weird with Isis and Osiris. I could not remember their human names. I think they do a really good job in Shazam. People feel different, but I think they do a really good job with the family stuff in Shazam. So
yeah, I think Black Adam fell apart because of the JSA, though, because they tried to make his new family the JSA, and the JSA just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, you actually had a family.
Yeah.
And then you had the juxtaposition of the Cord family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like that I think played off pretty well. There's just some little oddities here and there, and I think the biggest thing for me was just like, I have not read a lot of Jaime stuff, so I wasn't aware that they changed it more since, because I think the last time I read Jaime was when he first introduced in Infinite Crisis. But have they turned it more into like an Iron Man suit now? So it's just him giving orders?
It's a space thing.
So they kind of pull from a few different places, right? The it is like an armor, right? It's like sentient. The Beetle sentient, and they've played that up a lot in the ongoing book and in the Young Justice cartoon and stuff. So it's not. They maybe make it a little more Iron Man-ish in this, but it's not like a suit of armor, right? It is a living being,
right? That's what I was going to say. Like, I think that's maybe the only part I felt a little weird. I think I would have liked it to be a little bit more sentient instead of so much armor man-ish, like the way he was communicating with him, at least.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Especially since, like, well, don't want to go on spoilers, but the end part just to me didn't really make sense.
Oh well, no, I think we'll wrap it up so we will next couple minutes talk end of movie spoilers, because again, this is another one of those movies we could spoil the plot, but it's kind of nothing to really spoil. It's like he gets a suit, he fights the bad guy, he wins, bad guy loses, end of the movie. Like it's fun. You're watching it for the relationship with the family, you're watching it for the comedy, you're watching it for, it's not like this is all tied in, this is all. And this goes back to what I was saying before. Like I even complained about not wanting that, but then if that's not there, is there a draw for the movie? So I don't know. I'm in a weird place right now with the comic movies. Personally, I don't know what I want. I don't want.
Kraven the Hunter. That's what
you know what I'm
want.
trying to say. Well, it's like sure, of course I want like JLA versus Avengers with 1 billion characters and all sorts of stupid nonsense. But I'm also like, I kind of don't want that. I kind of just want a normal movie. But then I see a normal movie and I'm like, that sure was a normal movie. So, like I said, I'm going through my own personal difficulty knowing I want something. I guess I just want something different, because guy getting powers, wacky family hijinks, beating a villain is that's just every movie.
Yeah, but the problem is this is the first movie, so you kind of have to do that. It's harder to jump in the middle of a story if you don't know the characters, right?
Yeah, but that's what I'm wondering. Like, what's the because I would argue the Spider-Verse does the same thing, right? But the animation is the difference, right?
But Spider-Man. Everybody knows Spider-Man.
But what is the thing that makes the next great superhero movie a great superhero movie? It has to do something different. It has to just be tone. What is the Barbie / Oppenheimer of superhero movies to come, right? What have we got? Dark Knight, right?
Yeah.
Logan.
But once again,
Winter
Dark Knight was not the first.
No, right? But I'm saying, like, what are the ones that have had this sort of like this impact? Endgame, Infinity War, and Endgame, right?
Yeah.
This impact beyond just, that's a movie. Guardians 1, right?
Yeah, probably in that group, Guardians 1 was probably the most closest to what you want.
Yeah,
because it was brand new, no characters, and just gave us a fun story that was unexpected.
Yeah. But yeah, so Kevin, do you care at all?
Hit me.
So we don't get anything, right? But the
you're not going to ask me. I say it is.
Do you care?
I don't care.
No, I know you don't care.
Because you said this is a family movie. I'm like, both my kids said they didn't want to go see it.
Yeah, that's fine. There's a lot of talk with Ted Kord, right? I mean, they acknowledge Ted Kord was the Blue Beetle, and even Dan Garrett, right? They even mentioned Dan Garrett found the Scarab originally. So
that's the Charlton.
Yeah. So yeah, they don't ignore any of that. Well, it's because the girl in the movie is Ted Kord's daughter, right? And his sister is Susan. Pardon me. His sister's Susan Sarandon's character.
Mother.
No, Susan Sarandon. No, it's his sister.
I could have sworn it was his mother.
No, it's a sister. I mean, look it up. I'm like 99% sure it's a sister, because that's who she is in the comics, and she's a new character. They only introduced her like this past year, but it's her sister in the comics.
Made it sound like it was the mother throughout the movie because of the way that the company was handed down.
I
I could be wrong. I could have just heard it wrong, but
let's see. Yeah, I don't think so, but I'll look it up anyway. But at the very end, in like the mid-credit scene, right? They're in the Beetle cave, right? And they get the bug and everything like that. And earlier in the movie, and the computer's on, and it sort of kicks back on, and there's a screen, it's all wobbly, and it's like, hello, oh, the computer's been turned. Someone finally turned this back on. Yeah, it's his sister. Yeah,
it's his sister.
Someone finally turned this back on. Help me. This is Ted Cord. I'm still alive. Someone help me, because they thought he died years ago, right? So Ted Cord is still out there in wherever he is. It's a little bit like
he's in inner space.
It's a little bit like what they did with
Quantum Ant-Man and stuff.
Yeah, Janet Janet Pym and or Janet Van Dyne in Ant-Man. So again. Will they ever go back to that? Will they ever use, will we bring in Ted Cord? I have no idea. Right? I'm sure I love it. I loved the stuff with Ted Cord, but I don't have a lot of faith in getting too much more Blue Beetle. But he's good. Again, he's fun. I like the guy. I like the kid. It was a fun enough movie. Box office unfortunately does not seem like we'll get more, but who knows? See what happens. But you were confused about something, Lane?
Well, I think the part that just bothered me the most was the creation. Well, we are spoilers, right? So
go ahead.
The creation of her Victoria's ultimate plan was basically funneling the power of Blue Beetle into the Olmecs. And she's harvesting the code. And it's like, that doesn't make sense with an ascension being.
Well, that was one of the things, actually, that was pretty cool, because when I'm watching the opening, I was like, OMAC?
Yeah, I like the idea of the OMAC being there, and it makes sense.
I didn't know that OMAC was going to be in this. Yeah, so basically they take the Blue Beetle scarab, and she's looking for the scarab, and she finds it, and she's like, yeah, Ted wanted to use this for good and blah, blah, blah. She's like, no, we're going to make this to make fucking military weapons. And so it's not... Yeah, they're like experimenting on the scarab to try to figure, because they're using its armor creating ability to create the OMAC, the one-man army corps. So that's and what Carapax, right? The kind of the tough guy villain in the movie, right?
Yeah.
He was like the test subject for this,
prototype.
Right? Yeah. So that was it's not like. I mean, did they say code? I don't remember.
They kept saying they're grabbing the code. They're downloading the code.
Sure. I mean, it's organic.
It's a techno-organic being, so there's going to be
right. Exactly.
Something.
So, sure.
It's like getting its blood. You have to get its binary code.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it just seemed weird. The way they were explaining and the way they were trying to. How do you put that into an OMAC? And
yeah, I didn't. That didn't really bother me.
The access port, that's where you put it.
But other than that, it was pretty good. And then, I mean, then a little bit that they did tease all the space origins of the Beetle, which I don't know. I kind of felt like they did it. I would have maybe held off on that until the second movie.
What's that?
Just the whole history in the very, very beginning, where you see how like a lantern actually knocks the Beetle out of orbit, and that's actually how it lands on Earth. And
lantern,
yeah, they actually know. That's why you see the green light in the very beginning when it's flying through space in the title credits.
I'm gonna have to go back and look at this. I don't.
Yeah,
think
it was announced today.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds
saying that the director said that's what it is, or I don't know if it was the director, but someone said that's what it is.
Blue Beetle had a sly reference to Green Lantern. Let's see. There's a green light that hits this character, and that's Green Lantern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's when the scarab is flying through space in the very beginning.
Well, I changed my mind. It's the greatest movie I've ever seen in my entire life. The Green Lantern's in it. Interesting. I did not. I mean, I remember. I just didn't think about it. But I did catch the Oreo cookies on the desk on the computer at the very end, meaning Martian Manhunter is alive, and this is a direct reference to Justice League International. So again, greatest comic movie ever made. So
just need a pop.
That's all I need. That's all I need. That's all I need. Just some Oreos, because I know I can make the rest of the movie in my mind. I can infer the rest. So
there was no Booster Gold.
Oh, he's coming, baby. He's coming with that TV show.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah, he'll just have to integrate on its own.
Yeah, we'll get it.
And I like the cave and the suit and everything.
Yeah. It was fun. I mean, like that they play up there like, wait, isn't this what Batman does? It's just like, because that's, it's just the.
And how much the Beetle is so much like Night Owl, or no.
Mm-hmm.
Not, the Watchmen.
Not Owl. Yeah.
Archimedes.
Yeah, Night Owl.
Yeah, no. What? Not Owl.
Yeah, isn't Archimedes?
Yeah, that's the ship.
The ship. Yeah, the ship. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that. That was cool. So overall, it was a fun movie. I had no problem with it.
Yeah. Like I said, I liked it. I have not much else to say about it. It was a B. It was fun. It was worth watching.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're in a weird place with comic movies right now. So that's all I got. We are going to wrap up. But that was another wonderful episode of the Comic Conspiracy Podcast. If you saw Blue Beetle, hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget about our anthology 2 weeks and change out for Meanwhile, a Comic Shop Anthology. Available at comicsconspiracy.biz and Meanwhile anthology.com. You can find more links, including the links when it goes live on Amazon for Kickstarter. For Kindle and Comixology through Amazon. So that will be up at meanwhileanthology.com. Please check out The Lowdown with Luke and Derek on Spotify and YouTube. And big thanks to our friends Joe Duff, Kelsey May, Craig Anderson at the Executive Evolution Podcast, Jimmy Rivera at the Social Forum Podcast, and Talon Bray. ComicConspiracyPodcast.com is where you can find all our previous episodes. And do not forget to go to patreon.com/comicconspiracy. Throw a couple bucks our way. We do appreciate it. But you can also give us money at comicsconspiracy.biz, where you can get comic books in return for it, including the Meanwhile Anthology, which is up there for pre-order. Go on conspiratorbrock.com. That's Brock's pull list and unboxing videos and random thoughts.
Actually going to have something to unbox.
Deep thoughts with Brock Sager. Charlie's Wander in the Fourth Dimension podcast, all talking about Doctor Who. Kevin's weekly interview series of comic creators at Between the Panels at fanbasepress.com, and my wife Leanne's website at leannehill.com. And you can find her at Etsy at etsy.com/shop/LeanneHillArt. Please go on Twitter, the place we tweet. Twitter, that is the name of the app and the website, Twitter. And follow us, Ryan Higgins, Brock Sager, Toby's
you don't
Toby
want to send X's to people?
Charlie's Insanity and Chaos. Kevin, is that Kevin Sharp? The store is Comics Con store. I'm also on Blue Sky at Ryan Higgins. Brock is Brock Sager. I think Toby is on his Toby XI too. And Kevin, is that Kevin Sharp there as well? And I know Geekbox this past week. We've been busy with the anthology, so sorry I had to skip Geekbox, but should be back next week for that, as well as Manga Machinations. Go listen to our friends talk about manga and anime. All right, that is another episode of Comic Conspiracy. We'll catch you guys probably next week, if not in 2 weeks. Like I said, not intentionally 2 weeks, but that's just the schedule we've been on here. So we will have a nice Meanwhile-filled episode after the release in a few weeks, for sure. But we'll catch you very soon. Goodbye.